I'd personally love to get more information on just you in general, man. I think a lot of people probably after that discussion want to know more about you. And I think this is a perfect time, just in the sense that, you know, a lot of people have already taken some trades. A lot of people have already gotten in and out of some stuff. A great trade on AMD. Nice little cute win. I'll take it. So I think it's
Yeah,
time
it
for
was very
interview,
small.
man.
I was looking for a little bit more of a run up on it. I thought we were gonna get that fifth wave, and just it's hitting. I'm just not without me though.
Yeah. Understand. Dan, can you give us some information and insight, man? Tell us about your background. Where'd you come from? How'd you get into this whole stock trading thing? Let's do an interview, man. Let's learn about you.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, absolutely. So basically, I was born and raised in Long Island, right? Grew up there most of my life. Went to elementary school out there, high school out there, and then I ended up going to college in Pennsylvania. So basically, I after college, and I'll get back to some other stuff, but just a general brief background. After college, that's where I met future wifey at that point, and she grew up in Pennsylvania. So anytime you're in a relationship and somebody says, "Where do you decide to live?" I'm yada yada yada. I live in Pennsylvania now, to say the least. So I'm out here. I still have a business. So I started a business when I was 16 years old in high school, and it was just an entertainment business, right? So it was literally I think I was a freshman in high school, and so I was young. But I saw like some other DJs do like school functions, school events, things like that, and I thought, I was like, I could definitely do that. I mean, that seems fun. It seems like something I'd be interested in doing. I think I could handle that. I don't have any clue how to DJ. I but I probably could talk somebody else into doing it, right? So I ended up getting like 3 friends together. We were young, we have no money, right? So we take $250 each, and so there's 4 of us. We take it, we pull it together. We go to the DJ store that sells all the equipment. We go, what can we do with this? We've got the worst piece of equipment that anybody has ever seen in the DJ world, right? And we go out. My friend still has no idea. Like, he's literally just kind of, I mean, computers just started being able to kind of play music, not streaming or anything like that, but literally just basic everything. And then I was on the mic, and I knew what at least I wanted to do as far as the vision, interact with people, and stuff like that, get them involved in the party. And even though like we were complete basic amateurs and stuff like that at this point, the people liked what we were doing, and we would still get rebooked and stuff like that until they ended up just kind of phasing out, pretty shortly. Because, like I said, it's, if you think about something all day, that's what you become, and that's what I was thinking about, not so much them. So eventually they kind of just left. And just over the course of years, I mean, it helped pay for college. It got me through school. It got me kind of set up. And then I got out with the degree in college, marketing and mass communication. And so I got the real person job, which was, at that point I was selling insurance. So I was a financial advisor in the insurance world. So I was working with Mass Mutual. So I did that for a while. And even though they give you the title of financial advisor, and they do give you a decent education on just some of the, obviously, the products and sales points they want you to push, but you can sell like life, disability, health. I was studying for the Series 6 and stuff like that as well. And you could talk to clients about retirement, but then you have to bring in a senior guy for like health care products and retirement accounts and stuff like that. But they did at least give you good background and education in regards to a lot of stuff. And then it was just all commission job. It was just tough to survive out of college again, not really having money. I was literally turning down bookings for DJing because I wanted to just focus on my real grown-up job type thing that I was supposed to have. And then eventually I switched when I said, okay, I'm moving to Pennsylvania. I need to get a job out there. So I got a job. They interviewed. They loved it. It was a sales position, something like that. And decent paying job, benefits, the whole deal. Moved out to Pennsylvania the day before I started work in this place, and lived with in my wife's place for a while there, and just kind of really got a hold of the sales portion of things and just kind of pitching people and a lot of cold calling, things like that involved. But at the same time, I was still getting calls from people to say, hey, can you DJ this? Can you do this? And eventually I said, all right, why am I just sitting here on a Saturday or Sunday? People call me, and for whatever reason, I'm just turning it down. It doesn't make sense. I'm young. I'm willing to work. Why would I do that? So eventually I started getting back into it. And then it got to a point where I was doing 40 hours a week at my full job. And then I was doing about almost 40 hours a week on a weekend, from basically Friday night till very late Sunday night type situation, or even Monday, or go up on a Thursday night or something like that. It was just all of my time were involved between doing both. And I was making just as much money, if not more, DJing than I was doing this full time job that required me to be there for 40 hours and everything. So I finally had to leave there, and I said, I'm just going to focus on the DJ thing. And I ended up turning into, like, it's still a small business, but we were doing like 500,000 a year in revenue, which for a $250 investment is a pretty solid return, considering that I didn't throw any additional money. Everything I did was just kind of reinvest in myself, reinvest in new equipment, reinvest in, staff, hire salespeople, hired, managers, and just kind of try to properly just grow the business. So that's where I was at career-wise.
Dan, what would you say is was your biggest reason for that growth on your DJing? Like, what was your biggest skill? What was your biggest asset as a DJ at that point? I mean, because to grow any company into like a $500,000 revenue per year, I mean, it's phenomenal. So, I mean, give us some insights on how you did that.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Like,
So
are you a great dancer? Like,
what's that?
Are you an amazing dancer? Like, are you?
No. I don't dance, and that's why I get booked more. I think if they saw me dance, it'd be no more referrals out of the entire business. What it was is very customer service focused on my end. I knew, I knew from the first gig, the first couple, I was more of an MC than a DJ, right? As far as even for the first few years, like I would have somebody else usually DJ behind me, and I'd be on the mic. I knew enough of how to treat the clients, how to respond if they called with questions, or, hey, my daughter's getting married and she doesn't know, or I'm getting married, I don't know what the first dance, can you help me with this? Literally, I would have clients call me at 2 a.m. and I don't care. Like I'm fine. That's their in this industry, they're throwing events for the most part that are once in a lifetime events, and I get it. And they stress about it, and they don't know if grandmother should sit next to aunt or this or that. And they get so many, just when you really break down like what a wedding is, should we go with the purple napkin or the light violet napkin? It's like, if you're on the outside and you just step back from like what a lot of events are and stuff, you just go, everybody just take a breath, and it's fine, make it through it. So I was able to kind of just coach people through it just from experience of like eventually just seeing weddings, being at events all the time. So I think the customer service end of things put me a step ahead. And then obviously, as I was just, every time I made money, I would just buy the best equipment out there, or the best lighting setup, or the best, I got into like LED video walls. I got into, I bought an entire inflatable, like bounce house company type thing with like the giant inflatable slides and obstacle courses and things like that eventually. So it was just the industry was expanding. A lot of, which kind of worked out, because a lot of this industry that I'm in, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you could be a DJ, make a killing, and that's all you do is DJ. But since computers came out, and since new software programs come out, anybody with a laptop says that they're a DJ, right? But it's different. You have to read the crowd. You have to kind of understand what type of people they are, what they're responding to, and kind of push with that. So that's a skill set that you just kind of learn over time. So kind of how I was saying with the stock market before, earlier, it's not something, I mean, just because you have Thinkorswim or you have whatever software for trading or anything like that, you could have the tools, but it's very much about learning the personality of the stock, learning what happens when certain setups come in place. So that was something that I was I was it was a struggle 100% for me to figure out why would I take a certain hammer and that hammer fails 9 times out of 10. But when I watch a Jeremy Newsom video, his hammer works 100% of the time. It just
I wish.
and it came down to when I rewatched the videos and re-went back into it. Um, you start to see like, oh, he's taking a hammer because it's at this location, because the 3 candles prior to it was this certain style or color or whatever it might be. And obviously, I'm just using it as an example, but um, for me, that was something in the trading world of things that it took me, which was kind of very similar to the DJ portion of things, is just kind of expand out, invest in yourself,
Gotcha. When
purchase.
did that transfer from you're making money DJing, you're buying the equipment, you're reinvesting in your business? When did that transfer into stocks for you?
So I would say it was like I said, when I started DJing, when I got my first um, first, I could almost call it DJ equipment when I was like 16. Um, Back at that point, I really didn't know too much about stocks. I knew that it existed. Um, I knew that there was something to it. I was kind of drawn to it, intrigued by it. Um, but with how as I got more into like the financial world of like Mass Mutual, they're showing you, if somebody plays an investment this time over the next 10 years, yada yada yada, or whatever the sales pitch is, it kind of got that interested in me a little bit about, well, so why I should be putting my money into a retirement account. And that's all I really knew is the retirement. And I knew life insurance, and you could get the life insurance with some attachment to the market and stuff like that, because that's what they were teaching you at that point. So that's where I got kind of familiar, and then started looking at stocks. And there were so many just over time. And so I started looking at something, and I knew about the gaps a long time ago, but it was more on um, like it was a lot of gaps that happened on the daily picture that just never got filled, and they were just like so far either up or down or whatever it was from it, which was most likely gap and goes I was looking at without even knowing it, and the gaps just didn't fill. So what I would do is, it could have been 3 months or 6 months later, I'd be looking at that gap and saying, well, this one didn't fill from here, so I'm going to just put my entry here. I didn't know anything about stops at the point or anything like that. I was very, very basic with everything. So I would get triggered. I would be in it for, 3 months. It would be kind of flat, just not doing anything. And then all of a sudden it would just shoot up to where I thought the target was. But after 2 or 3 months, that was a long trade for me. That was something that I couldn't sit through because I didn't really know if it was supposed to go up or down. I didn't know where I was supposed to pull out. So it was just kind of me learning. And there was a trade with Netflix I owned when it was at $99. One of those trades that I wish I held and just never did. There was a Tesla I think I had at one point $200, not the previous 200 like before, and just stuff like that. Like I would just have, and just WWE I think I had like $9, and then I checked it, like I wouldn't even look at it for a couple of years, and it was up to like $80. So just stuff like that where I kind of sensed like it was just either overreacted, it was just in the news all the time, and like I had a good sense for it, but I just didn't really understand the trading as much. Like I didn't understand like how to decipher really what a day trade or swing trade or long-term hold, or what even a long-term hold is, or what you're trying to use it for. So after I started kind of reading and watching some of the videos and just kind of educating myself a little bit more on when to do certain things, how to have multiple accounts as opposed to just putting everything into one account, and how long you should wait for something to happen. That once that became a little bit clearer to me, a lot of it made sense. And so I was just able to kind of start picking up more and more, and I still learn new things every single day.
Love it, man. Love it. So from there, as you're transitioning, I mean, you're watching tons of videos, you're just pouring time in. How did you practice? Was it real money? Was it fake money? Did you back trade? Like, how did that process work for you?
Most of it was real money, which I regret. I've definitely blown up accounts before, 100%. Um, and most of it, a lot of it, like I have this addictive personality. So basically, if I get into something, I want to just, I don't even want to get into something unless I want it to be the best, right? Or I want to just keep hitting until I hit a certain goal. Like I just want to keep on doing it, right? So I think for me it was, and I'm kind of blanking a little bit on the question just because I was looking at something real quick. Ask me one more time the question.
Yeah. So just kind of like, how did you practice? I mean, you're
Yeah,
getting
right. I'm
just an
sorry.
knowledge.
So I did not have Thinkorswim. I think I was set up with Scottrade at the time, and I was using the Scottrade website to find trades, find entries. I did not even know really what back trading was at that certain point. This is very, very basic stuff. And then I think when Scottrade got bought out by TD Ameritrade, I think that's when, because I would watch videos with people's charts and stuff like that prior, and I knew, but it just, you don't have as much access um, from the Scottrade set website than you had when I was introduced to Thinkorswim. So that's where I kind of got into really seeing, wow, there's a whole different language out there that I was just not familiar with. So for me, once I started kind of learning the language, I I, I wanted just like I just can't stop. Like I just have to keep doing it until I fully understand it. I've traded options before as well, um, and it's just been a complete ride as far as I'd make like $17,000 in one day, and then the next 2 days I'd lose it. Like I just had no. This is a lot earlier on, and just not really knowing kind of when to call it quits as far as hopping in on Tesla because of XYZ. That works out, and why can't I just do the same thing the next day? So it was kind of a learning thing. So it's the discipline for me is something that I've kind of worked to improve on. So I didn't really trade with fake money. I tried trading on paper accounts, and for me, they give you whatever $100,000 margin or something, and I would just be placing more trade. I couldn't just stay true to how I would actually trade when I had real money in the market. I just didn't have enough discipline for that, especially at that point, where if I'm in a real trade and I see my account dropping by whatever amount of dollars based on whatever trade it is, then that's when I start freaking out or quick to sell at that point. Or so once I overcame a lot of that, because I didn't have any plans or anything. I was just I was just trading because I felt like it could go in a certain direction. But a lot of the R system, once I finally learned the R system, once I finally picked up that the actual bars and the actual indicators and the actual placement on the chart, that's all just part of the trade. That's only really 50% of your trade. The other important information that really nobody talks about is the risk reward. The R system only risk a certain amount. That is such a huge key to anything as far as before you even start placing a trade, know what you're actually risking on it. It's an entirely different ball game at that point, because you could really control your balances. I mean, you could be wrong a lot and still be right. That's mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started picking up, becoming more serious as far as really learning to that. And then even when I learned it at first, I don't know, still kind of a new trader. It was, and I think Uncle Reed just said, yeah, the only thing that matters is how you manage your trade that you're already in. Yes, exactly. Losing small is a win. But when you're trading and you don't understand that, it is, and even I'm sure there's some new people that are listening or will listen to it or whatever that just still don't understand the concept, but one day they will. And it's that right there is just it's almost more important than a lot of these setups and stuff like that too, is just maintaining how you control your bank account, maintain how you control your balance. Once I figured that out, and I actually was able to stick with it, because once I started with it, I'd be making whatever, I'd have like $100 R, $150 R or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, my goal is 300 and I'd take like 225 profit. But then 2 weeks ago, I was trading like a crazy cowboy and I was making, $1,000 on a trade or something like that. So just the mindset of that is just, well, with the R system, I didn't really make that much. But yeah, you didn't really have that many shares, and you also controlled your account. But when you did the cowboy, yeah, you made $1,000, but then you lost 2,000 on trade before it, and your account is underwater. So it's really it's just a really interesting just mindset as far as being able to kind of overcome what you want to do, which is I want to become a millionaire in 1 hour of trading
Yeah.
because I just watched the pizza guy trade something. Or is this something that you can do long term? Is it something that you could have as a career? Can you manage it? Can you increase your R's as the big? Everybody is learning every single day. For me, I'm learning right now as I'm trading, and I'm in 5 years from now. What I've learned now, I'm still going to be using, and I'm still going to be learning something else there. So my mentality, my mindset is, at that point, if I have $1,000 or $10,000 or $20,000, whatever it is at that point, based on the account size, I'm much more skilled, much more able to actually manage, control, respect the money that I have, where I'm just not putting it out on just wild, crazy trades. And a certain loss won't really affect my overall account balance, but a win will definitely. I'd be making more money than anybody out there as far as working a 9 to 5 job in a certain day than they could possibly make. So you have way more opportunity, and if you control the risk, and it's something that it's a very tough concept to grasp. But at that point, it's just once you get it, and once you're in it, and your mindset is there, you're unstoppable. It's really really the way I kind of see how that went for at least me. And as I talk to traders, as I try to help them manage trades, I see where they're getting in. I'm seeing their certain entry points, and it's like talking to myself from the past. And there's nothing wrong with it because I was doing a lot of the same stuff, and it looks something that feels or looks like a good trade. Just me now, I'm looking at it and I just go, yeah, no, I would stay away from something like that. And me from 5 years from today is going to tell me, well, yeah, you probably shouldn't have taken this trade because this you just grow your knowledge base and just kind of grow what you're looking to trade. I also don't know if I answered any of that question. Probably went on 3 or 4 tangents, but
Tangents are good, man. Tangents are good.
all right.
Tell us how you trade now. Like, what's your approach? I know you do a lot of day trading. You do some swings, like options. Just give us the whole gamut on what you look for and how you trade and what your system is now.
Right. So like I said, options I traded at one point. I don't trade that now. The main reason is the plan that I put together, and legitimately, it's like a business plan, because I treat this like a business. For options, I want another separate account for it, and that option account for me can only contain 5% of my overall balance for all of my accounts. I want my option account to be very low, just because options are a little bit more risky, and until I've taken more education on it and more proper training, I want to just at this point just continue growing the stock portion of things and just kind of building out my different accounts. So I have a day trade account, I get a separate swing trade account, and I have the long-term account, right? So for me, the way I kind of trade, I make money on my day trade account, and then once I make that money, I put 20% of that money into my swing trade account, and then I put 10% into my long-term account, right? So the long-term account is a Roth IRA. I don't even think I could touch it till I think I could actually touch it, or at least the principal I put in if I had to. But my plan is not even to touch the Roth IRA. With that one, I'm just buying solid either dividend or growth stocks, right? So I own some Snapchat in there. I do own Coca-Cola. I own AT&T. Disney I'm looking to get into. I don't like the fact that they dropped their dividend, but I think it's something that comes back in a year or so or something like that. So it's not a bad, and it's almost kind of a growth / dividends, mashup type stock. So I don't mind looking for an entry on that. And I think Marriott would be another one that I'm trying to kind of put in there as well. But so that one I'm just not even touching. I don't even care if it goes down. I got the drip set on it. As it comes down, it's going to just buy more partial shares at least of the different stocks. And as it goes up with the 10 years, that's going to be my base and kind of grow to eventually do something pretty solid with. The swing trade account, I have that one set. So I'm already getting 20% at the end of every month from my day trade account. As that one grows, any profits I make over the course of a month, 10% of that also goes into the long term, right? So I'm kind of just funneling the money through into different areas. And then on the day trade type account, basically when I'm looking for individual trades and stuff like that, I like finding the hammers. I like counting the waves. Those are my two things that I look for. Besides, obviously, what type of gap it is, if it's in a bullish trend or bearish trend and stuff like that. So for the day trades, there's not one certain type of pattern that I look for. I would say I'm definitely not a momentum trader. I have to kind of plan everything, set it up prior, just because I don't want to trip my own brain into kind of how I used to trade. So I want to make sure that I keep the risk reward relatively manageable, and I like to put up the trades a little bit. As I mentioned a few times on the mic, beginning of the month, I'm okay, perfectly fine, just winning small trades here and there, just kind of build up. Because if I could get to, let's say, an R, well, what's today? So we have like a day or two left of this week, something like that. If I could build up to an R this week or half an R or something like that, and I could start next week already with half an R in my pocket, for me, just mentality's sake, I'm able to now leverage that R. So I'm even though I'm risking an R next week, but I already have an R locked in from this week. Even if I take a full stop out, I'm really only risking half an R now to get to 2 Rs, right? So based on I like to kind of just build the account, and then towards the end of the month, you get a little more aggressive. Try to shoot for the 3R trades, 4R trades, home runs, certain things. Still managing correctly the stops and kind of putting them up a little bit, but you can be a little looser on the stops because you already have it locked in as far as your bankroll. So bankroll management is very important to me as far as how I trade. A lot of my trades also come based in on how I'm already doing for that month. If I have to try to make up an R, or if I have to try to be a little more conservative at certain points, or something like that would go into a lot of my trading.
It's a good explanation.
As far as the setups I take.
Yep. So when you're day trading, what's your favorite time frame to focus on?
Right in the beginning of the day, so 9:30. I don't mind setting up trades pre-market, but my specialty would be after the market already opens, finding certain setups based on pivots. So basically 9:30 to 11 in that range.
Got it. And what candles do you use? 2 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute?
Mainly I use a 5-minute candle for the throughout the day. Pre-market, if I was looking at something pre-market, I'd try to switch it over to 2 minute and kind of go with that. And then basically otherwise past like the first 5 minutes a day, I'm really looking at the 5-minute candle. And then I'm also looking a lot at 15-minute and the daily, just for general direction to make sure I'm not taking a hammer of something that's already been kind of killing it already, that I'm thinking is just going to push up much higher.
So how'd you do in total for 2020? Like, what does that look like in your performance?
2020, I'd have to check the exact numbers. I know last month I had the last 2 months have been relatively strong. So I think I had 22 off the top of my head. I think it was like 22.4 Rs for last month. The month before that, I think I had like 17 point something. I think it was like 17.6 Rs for the previous month. The month before that, it was a little bit weaker, but it was like a 3 point something R.
Yep.
Which I'd have to pull up the chart, but
sure.
Yeah, the last 2 months have been just strong.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's been a nice. What would you say most of your trades stand are like day trades or swing trades?
I would say it's a combination. It's I don't have to trade something every day, but daily the most I'd probably trade is about two trades a day. On average, I'd say about one trade is what I'll take a day. It depends on how that first trade's going. If I'm curious to see if I want to dabble into another one, just my style. I don't need 1,000 trades for day trading. And then swing trades, I'm probably doing like 6, 7 day trades a month, something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
Nice.
so I'm definitely leaning more day trades than swing trades, but it's also because there's just more days in a month that I, look at something.
Right, right, right. What's your advice, Dan, for someone who has a small account? In this example, let's say it's $7,000 or less.
For somebody, and actually I was thinking about this, something that I think I would like to do, probably not this year, but maybe beginning of 2021, so you have a fresh year or something like that, is starting like a public, not like a real life trading small account. Like just I'll create like a new account, something like that. Put 5,000 or 7,000, whatever I was starting prices, and just try to manage the trades. Like, so you could only take like 3 trades or whatever it might be, at a certain time, and just try to build that certain account up, just as even like a side account. So it wouldn't be my small account, because a lot of people, I've dealt with small account for a very, very long time. It was something that frustrated me to beyond belief, because in my opinion, it's my money. If I want to go and spend it on stock trading, I earn the money. I should be able to do that. Um, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword for me, because I hate that I can't just use my own money for how I want to. If I want to take 17 trades that day and I only have 5,000 in the account, I personally feel like I should be allowed to. Um, but I think it was also a blessing in disguise as well, because I didn't have that much stock trading knowledge at that point. So, I mean, I wasn't about to. For me personally, it would just drive me crazy to just my personality to day trade on the free account or whatever like that. Um, where at least at this point I have some kind of money in the game and I felt like I was doing something, but I might as well have just been on a free account. Like, I highly recommend, even though for me I couldn't do it, just if you're starting out trading on a free account, it's almost the same thing. But if you do want to get in, you take in the actual classes, you've actually watched some videos, you've actually read at least a few articles on day trading, um, and you do want to start with 5 or 7,000, whatever it is, I think go for it. I think I love the idea of starting small and building something from nothing type situation. It is frustrating, like I said, beyond belief, because if I take a losing trade on AMD today and I could only trade 3 times, well, I only have 2 other trades that really have to be really, really good for me to make the money back. And what if I lost a full R? Now I definitely need at least a full R, and it messes with your mind a little bit, because you want to just let things ride extra long, or cut it as soon you where you should be kind of moving your stops up. You're just kind of holding it back a little bit, just because you don't want to just get wicked out of it real quick, and then it just runs without you, and that would have been your 2 3 R trade. So for people with the small R accounts, especially if you're working, what I was able to do is, like I said, I mean, for me, anything I make is mine to keep. So at least 10%. So if I'm working and I could throw some extra money into the account, slowly build it that way, and then also get your 3 trades, I think that's perfectly fine. I've also known people that have 2 small accounts. So let's say it's like 7,000 in one account, 7,000 in the other account. I don't know how I really feel about the idea of doing that, because um, the amount that you're putting on the trade. So let's say you're risking 2% of your account on that certain trade or something like that. Obviously, 7,000 you're getting less money per trade that you do, but you could trade more. So it's for people that want to trade, you could technically just have two accounts and just kind of be doing it that way as well. But I think it's just something that if you're in that situation and you have below the $25,000 amount, that's just life. That's just where it's at. Eventually, it will grow. You have to pay for your education, no matter what you do in life. I mean, if you're a lawyer, just because you don't have money doesn't mean you don't figure out how to go to school to be an attorney. You still figure out how to put the money together, and whether it's slowly growing over time, because you really honestly can't put any more money into the account. Or if you're working and you just say, okay, 10% of what I'm doing, I'm just going to start throwing into the day trade account till that grows. Plus, I'm also managing an account. I mean, there's definitely a ton of ways to go about that.
Gotcha. That's a good answer, man. I appreciate that. Earlier, before we started the actual interview, you were kind of talking a little bit about the secret, that mindset, that concept. When did you become woke in your life? What were some of those moments that occurred?
I think I'm still sleeping, but I read the book. I read it twice. One was a couple of years ago, and I was under the impression of, if you just think about something all day and don't do anything, like that's kind of what I took from the message of The Secret. You just think about something. I want to. You write down on a piece of paper, I want $1 million on my account, and just paste it on your wall. Look at it every day. Eventually, you're gonna have $1 million in your account by the end of the year or whatever. Which I was under the mindset of, write $1 million on, like the book was telling me, put $1 million on a piece of paper, tape it to your wall, look at it all day, and just sit around watching TV. And eventually you're going to have $1 million in your account. Right. But it's after I read it the second time and actually thought about it, legitimately everything in my life that I actually really wanted to do or achieve or aspire to, or whatever it might be, it was something that was actually on my mind all the time, and I would always think about it. I mean, even just going to the DJ thing, I was 16, no money, in high school, didn't even have a car at the point, no idea how to DJ. I just knew it was something that I kind of wanted to do, right? And that in my head, I could see myself actually DJing and kind of working a crowd, and then you're in the moment, so you don't think about it as you're doing it. You're just kind of think, okay, where's my next event coming from? How do I expand? How could I? This equipment looks really cool and does something a little. The light moves to the left as opposed to the right, so I'm going to need that one. And you're just kind of reinvested. And you're into it. But then if you actually sit back and look at your life a little bit and just say, yeah, I was actually thinking about becoming a DJ, doing that as a full-time business, and then to look at your books and you're going, well, I'm making $500,000 a year being a DJ. That the same thing as stock trading. Everybody in my life said, what are you doing being a DJ? Like, there's no money in that. We can do backyard party, or how many other people are DJs and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter how oversaturated something is. It doesn't matter how easy it is to get into, and there's no barrier of entry. If you want to do something and you think you could do it successfully, go for it. I mean, just do you. So when I reread The Secret, and I kind of looked, and it's not just that. It's just, I mean, it's also the two kids, the wife, the house. I remember I was in Pennsylvania, because Long Island houses, and for anybody on the East Coast, and there's some really nice houses in Long Island as well. Not exactly the area that I came from. So my house was a little smaller. And when I came to Pennsylvania, the houses are just a lot bigger and just more property, and just, it's a different feel of things. And I remember I was I don't even think I was engaged yet. I was just living out here, and I saw some of the houses, and just in my head, I go, that's kind of where I want to live one day. It was not even realizing the house that I actually did get, and it's a new development. It's the same exact model that I was looking at, because I found that house that I really liked. It turned out to be the same model, same developer, same everything. And this is about 6 years after I remember saying that in my head. So it's, I mean, you can take it how you want to, but after I not understanding something like that and just how the mind works and just the universe does take care of you as far as it gives you what you need. I mean, everything, money is in abundance. It's everywhere. It is literally everywhere right now. So it's opportunities come to the people that that search for it. So if you're looking for opportunities, you're saving, 10% every single month and just kind of building your account up, investing it correctly and growing it. If you're searching for opportunities and you find an opportunity, you'll be in the right place to take advantage of it. That's how you kind of advance your life. That's how you kind of get to the next level and just develop where you're going. So writing $1 million on a piece of paper and looking at it every day and not even considering how, like, not even making any effort to do anything and just kind of going on, that's one thing. But if you're thinking of it every single day and just, how do I get there? I need 10,000 more in my account by the end of this month. And you're okay. Let me take some extra courses. Let me take an options course. Let me do this. Let me review my trades. Eventually, by doing that, it will absolutely work out if that's something that you actually really want. And you really have to focus on that one thing. You can't say, okay, I want $1 million in my account, but I also want a new car. But I also need a new girlfriend or wife. But I also need this. And you're thinking of 7 different things at one time because there's no clear messages to what your mind starts wandering. You're not focusing on that one test to achieve. You're all over the place. So you really got to hone in on what you actually want and just go for it.
Huge, man. That's huge. Someone asked in the chat pane, have you read Think and Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich. What's this book? No.
Hill.
No. I just picked up a book because I thought it was a name, but the book I'm reading right now is I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
I'll be teach you to be rich. Amit Singh. Nice one, man. Good.
Yeah.
One. Pretty basic. You'll breeze through that one really fast. I will agree. You'll know almost every concept in that particular book, but yeah, man. One way to grow is to run up some Napoleon hills for sure. Yeah, that guy. pro level. But that's great, man. I appreciate that insight. I appreciate that thoughts. So speaking of,
I think the other book that I love a lot, besides The Secret, is The Richest Man in Babylon. I don't know if anybody or who, but if you haven't read it, I think it's definitely one of the strongest, just easy to read books that it's so basic. Like becoming rich, becoming wealthy, achieving what you want it's such a basic concept, and it just is overcomplicated in every sense of what it actually could be. So when I think that book, you just kind of sit back and you go, I'm a dummy. I could have just been doing certain things this entire time that's just so basic, and I'm looking for the most advanced way to get ahead when it's just there. The path is there. It's just whether you walk it. That's it.
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, the title of the book, Albert, is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yep, Richest Man in Babylon, classic, such a good one, easy read. Kids can read that one. That was a one that I read really, really early. All right, Dan, so we have a few minutes left. Tell me, what does the next 2 years look like for you then?
The next 2 years, I mean, I am perfectly happy being here. I think, I mean, it's a loaded question as far as what I think I'll be doing. Obviously, I think this is such a huge opportunity for me personally. Like I can't even say enough for what I think this opportunity means to me, honestly. Yeah, I'll be the richest man in Babylon. No, that's 2 years is too far. That's a 1 year goal. But it's just for me, being able to you get what you give. So I love the fact that there's so many new traders coming in. I mean, there's traders that come in that have been doing it forever and just need to either tweak their trading or just want to be a part of a community. This community itself, it doesn't matter if honestly, it doesn't matter if somebody goes out, watches every single video that you've ever made, and repeats it word for word, shows the exact same diagram, just lifts all the material education, which is free anyway. So why would they do that, off of the website and does their own thing and makes an identical product than real life trading? None of that really matters, because the one thing that real life trading to me has this quality where it's a magnet for people that have the same mindset, right? And that's something that honestly just cannot be duplicated anywhere. It's just the people that I speak to daily in the group 100% have the same similar mindset of they're trying their dream, not necessarily, but not limited to, is just having the yacht and going on trips everywhere and stuff like that. A lot of it is, I just want the freedom of time. I just want to be able to spend more time with this person, this person, this person. I just want to be able to, I just want to learn the market. Like I don't like when I don't understand something. I need to know. So it is, um, it's just crazy how something could just be created and just honestly be a magnet for those type of people. And that's something that honestly it can never be duplicated anywhere. The quality of people that is in the group, that's posting on Slack, that's finding different things. You don't see people that are coming in this group and really just, oh, your AMD did not hit 2 Rs today. You only made XYZ on it. My trade was this is not about trying to flex on that. It's really, honestly, it's trying to be able to better yourself, better the community. And I love everything about it. So for me, the next 2 years, I mean, I have no problem being here in real life traders. I will absolutely be here in any sense possible in real life trading. But and then I think the next, I don't know if it's 2 years out, uh, maybe 3 years timeline. I'm gonna probably try to shoot for two. Is probably try to get into the investment, like real estate investment, a little bit, where you could get into more. I want to get something as far as like a rental or something like that I could at least have some kind of. I know Brad's doing a flip, but I kind of like something where there's a rental of you having just the cash flow coming in on a monthly basis. So I'm looking into something like that, probably for 2 years away, just an investment strategy, something like that. And otherwise, just build the long term. Just keep collecting those dividends and living
Yeah, tell me about your long
life.
term. Why Snapchat? That's I love it. I think it's a good play, but why?
Well, I got it at like $7, $8. I think it was like $8 is when I picked it up.
Murderous.
For me, I thought Snapchat was just at that price, just so beat up. But I think Snapchat has, there's still risk involved in it. There's no dividends. It's been around long enough for me now where it's not so much of a trial run. So if I could put something in my long term, for me, the qualification for a value play is, can it grow and will it exist in 10 years? I think Snapchat is just, there's so many kids using it. There's so many other people that are just using it as either regular messages or just the user base is so huge on it, where I think they have something to grow. And I think they had a good couple moves the last probably a couple quarters, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, something like that, where they were finally figured out how to actually convert some of those users into paid advertisement and stuff like that. So into actual dollars in return for the company. So yeah, I think it's still kind of risky, but I think it's something that I don't see them personally going anywhere in 10 years from now. I think it's still at a relatively good price. I got it in, like I said, at $8. I'd probably, if I get pullbacks, I'm probably just going to continue to add to Snapchat.
Got it. Now you mentioned, you buy some shares over time and you take 10% like of your swings and your days, you kind of add to it. How do you do it? Do you do it weekly, monthly, quarterly? Do you build up some cash reserve and go, okay, I have enough now, let me buy some more of this?
So what I do for, like, I'll also funnel money that I make from actually working and DJing and things like that into long term and stuff like that. I don't really edit money that I make, like, just actually working out to really add to the day trade account too much because it's already kind of where I want it to be and just want that to just be a natural kind of separate entity that just grows. But I do want to take profits from there and put into swings. The swings would be kind of more to grow things and then also put some into the long term. So basically I do contribute to the long term from outside of trading besides as well trading. But I do it on a monthly basis. So for me, if I'm up a certain amount of R's at the end of the month, then that's what I'll take it in. I don't like doing it per trade. I consider doing it at one point where it's like, let's say you make whatever, $500 on a trade or something. And then just every time you get money, just start changing. But then it kind of affects the overall buying power a little bit. It affects your mindset a little bit as well, I think, from just looking at it. I think if I'm in a trade and my account should be here, but I've already taken out money and now it's here and now I have less to kind of trade with and work with and stuff like that. It's just cleaner, I think, for me at the end of the month, just say, okay, I'm up this amount. This goes into this account, this goes in this account. And then as my actual day trade account, even after all of the money and percentages that I take out, once that continues to grow to certain levels, then I have it just kind of written in the plan. That's when my R's start to increase. So it takes a little longer for my R's to increase, possibly because I'm still putting money into the swing trades, which I'm hoping to kind of grow that account and just keep working. And just hopefully the goal is to have 3 different entities all together that just continue to bring in cash flow. And that's kind of what I was looking for.
Love it, man. Well, if anyone has any questions for Dan, throw them in there. But dude, I do want to say this humbly and sincerely. You absolutely blew my mind over the last few weeks and months. When I reached out to you and we started talking and you started doing the moderator challenge and you stepped up in a big way, man. You did the 4x4 with me, which is incredible. I know that's hard. And
I'm still hitting some of those twice a week. I'm still hitting that 10 p.m. run.
My man.
You know, some you got to take something from everything you do, and that one stuck. For whatever reason, I used to do track back in the day, but I'm not really a runner. I just don't like it. But for some reason, at nighttime, at like 10 o'clock, when everybody else is sleeping, unless it's raining or something, then it's just annoying. But if it's not, and it's sunny and nice, there's just something about running at night by yourself when everybody else is sleeping that just motivates you for the next day. It's just strange. I don't know. That's the feeling I got. I liked it, and I've been continuing with that one.
It makes you sleep good too, man.
It did, yeah. It does.
Shower, you relax, like
it makes you sleep good if it's not the 4x4 challenge or whatever it was, correct. Because then you got to wake up in 4 hours. So that one, that's after that point, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I just want to say, again, humbly and sincerely, I'm really looking forward to working with you over the next few years, man. I think there's a lot of growth we can do together. There's a lot of things that we can learn together. I'm going to learn from you. You're going to learn from me. We're going to learn from the traders in the room, and we're going to continue growing and enriching lives and figuring out one of the objectives of RLT, which is to change the top 1% of the world's wealth into the top 2%. I think that's a metric that we can absolutely track over time as the newspapers and the media and people start talking about, oh, it's no longer the top 1%. Now it's the top 2% have all the wealth in the nation. I think we can make that change and adjustment together. So appreciate being here, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. And again, I'm really excited about what the future holds.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Well, folks, that's it for today. That is a wonderful wrap up of Wednesday spelled with an I. My boy Dan snagging a cute little gain on AMD. And hey, win small, book it, keep it, stack that wood, take it into the next day. Edward says, are we selling the swings today or are we thinking tomorrow? I'm thinking tomorrow, my man. I'm thinking tomorrow. So unless we have a nice little rally towards the end of the day and we end strong, I think tomorrow we'll probably sell a lot of our swings and book some profits. But yep, team from around the world, thank you for being here. You are inspiring. You are enriching. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, love life, and trade it. Bye.